Hey guys, this is Sarah Elena. Welcome to the channel. And here I have Pablo.
Hey, how are you?
From International Relocation Partner. I work with Pablo a lot. He's one of my favorite people. You guys have probably seen him on this channel before. However, if this is one of your first videos, I help people with moving to Costa Rica, all the logistics, the banking, the bringing the pets, all the car purchase, all that good stuff, where you're going to live. Pablo literally does the moving of people to Costa Rica, and their things. So import, customs, bringing cars in, other vehicles, shipments, household goods, all of that. And it's such a delicate process that I fully sleep very well at night knowing that we can leave that to Pablo and it all works out just fine. So
It's
I
hard.
Exactly. I like to work with people that I can sleep good at night knowing that the people that I'm working with and I'm sending over are well taken care of. So we're here at the expat retreat. If you don't know what that is, you can check out the link below too. It's a time where we get together. We have a week of seminars, so lots of learning, lots of amazing food, lots of fun. We're up here in La Fortuna by the volcano. So it's a fantastic week. And for me, it's kind of like a big family reunion. I get to see all my favorite people and we get to do some videos together. So yeah, so Pablo and I what are we talking about today?
Well, I'd like to talk about this one is I've been doing international moving and international shipping to Costa Rica for like the longest, 16 years now. A year and a half ago, almost 2 years now, I started doing the same thing in Panama. And I actually moved myself. I rented a place in Panama City, in Clayton, right? This is right on the city. So I spent 2 weeks in Panama, 2 weeks in Costa Rica. And now, after a year and a half, I think I have enough context to talk about what are some of the differences between Costa Rica and Panama. And I think a lot of people have this question. A lot of people is like, oh, Costa Rica, oh, Panama, is it the same? And believe it or not, people think it's the same or it's very similar. And I think there's so many different things.
Yeah, so actually it was just yesterday someone had asked me that question, or the day before.
It's a very
And they said,
popular
what do you know
question.
about Panama? I said, well, you know what? Who would know? Pablo. Pablo's going to know. So why don't you tell us what do you see as the major differences? Because you're the one, you do travel back and forth. I know a lot of times you fly, a lot of times you drive. I think you're cray for that. I don't like to be out of my 15-minute radius. So you drive into Panama's.
And it's a long drive from San Jose. It could be 12 hours, 13 hours. So it's a long drive. I like to divide this topic into different categories so it's easier to understand. And some of the most popular categories is first, if you think about the journey of somebody moving abroad, is the first one is immigration. So the first thing people have to think about if you're moving to Costa Rica or to Panama is, okay, am I going to be allowed to be legal? Is it something that, it's important. So depending on your category, in Costa Rica, you can become a digital nomad fairly easy, and you don't even have to be a digital nomad. You can stay here for 180 days. In Panama, that's a lot harder. They give you only 30 days for you to stay, and then you have to renew and renew and renew more and more times. And you have to show, well, I think in Costa Rica it's similar, but you have to show, where you're going to stay, the hotel, and the returning ticket flying back. So it's a bit more strict in Panama. So it kind of forces you to formalize your relationship with the country. So become a temporary resident in Panama. And I think Panama, if you want to formalize this relationship, is a lot less bureaucratic than Costa Rica. Like I know people in Costa Rica, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I know people that would be a year or year and a half before they get the temporary residency. In Panama, in 90 days, 3 months, they could get the temporary residency.
Wow.
And they have different categories. And I don't pretend to be an immigration attorney, but I do know it's a lot less bureaucratic, if I'm pronouncing that right. It's less bureaucratic. So that's our first category. Another important category is the currency. That's I think is a winner for Panama because Panama uses the same as the dollar. It's called in Panama the Balboa. The Costa Rica is Costa Rican colon, and in Panama is the Panamanian Balboa. But one Balboa is the same as $1. So there's no confusion. You don't have to get your calculator. Whatever you see is the price on whatever sticker price. That's the same as the dollar. So it makes it easier for a lot of people if the currency is confusing. So that's one big, I guess, benefit. Both countries are then the third one I would say is location. So both countries are equal in terms of location. I mean, location is very similar. A flight from Costa Rica to Florida, Miami could be like 3 hours and a half. The same thing from Panama. And both airports, Tocumen in Panama and San Jose or Juan Santa Maria in San Jose, both airports are very well connected to like Europe, South America, North America, everywhere. You can almost get direct flights to almost every continent.
Mm-hmm.
So they're kind of equal. A lot of people would also say Costa Ricans, talking about how friendly is the country for a newcomer, for an expat. A lot of people will say Costa Rica is the winner because the Costa Ricans are friendlier. Um, I would say in Costa Rica, we could be winning for being friendlier. I think it's because we are a very touristy country, so there's a lot of information, training. There's a lot of hotels, restaurants, and a lot of the service industry is very well developed, way more than in Panama. So you walk into a restaurant, and there is the understanding that you have to be really nice, polite, and be customer centric. Customer centric. You have to be customer oriented, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's Costa Rica for the most part. In Panama, um, for years I've been traveling to Panama, but in Panama, it's a little harder to get that attention.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying Panamanians are not good people. They're pretty good people, and once you get to know them and build a little bit of a relationship, they're just like us Costa Ricans, as friendly as a Costa Rican. But at the very first glance, and I had this before, if you walk into a gas station, you don't see nobody that can help you, and they can make you wait a few minutes before they pump the gas on, before they pump the gas, or you. So it's customer service. Panama could be losing, and Costa Rica could be winning, but both are very friendly, and I would say Panamanians are very funny. Like the humor in Panama, I like the humor in Panama better than the Costa Rican one.
Ah.
And I'm a Costa Rican, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
What other important
I have some
area?
questions. So, what about on the climate? Like, what are some of the differences in the climates?
Mm-hmm. Very, very similar. Both countries are very small countries. The climates you can get very similar climates. You can get mountains, you can get beach places. The Panamania coast, the Caribbean coast, is beautiful. Something
Mm-hmm.
that I think is missing in Costa Rica.
Mm.
So you have Bocas del Toro,
Oh,
which is gorgeous archipelago. How do you say archipelago in English?
I don't know.
Lots of little islands, and there's one little city, a couple of little cities or towns in these islands, and it's just beautiful Caribbean in Panama. And they also have San Blas, which is another archipelago, another like 300 little islands where you can go travel and enjoy, take pictures, and the water is just like crystal clear water. And Costa Rica doesn't have that many places like this. Maybe a little bit in the Caribbean as well, but not as many.
Not funny.
One important thing is Costa Rica does not have the city that Panama has. Panama has like a
Panama City.
real nice city, like high rise, a lot of things to do. And it's a lot of people do not realize it's a small city. It's a very small city, but it's got a lot of these big buildings, and almost every bank worldwide has a little office or branch in Panama. For years has been a financial center for the world, and also a lot of corporate offices from many different businesses are in Panama. So that makes the city, even though it's a small city and it may be only 2 million people in this small city, to be a very busy city with a lot of things to do, life, nightlife and restaurants and a lot of things to do, which is fun. Costa Rica, San Jose, it's a lot more, smaller. It feels smaller and less things to do. And you really need to know where you're going in San Jose if you want to find that right, nice restaurant.
Yeah.
And if you have questions about that, you can text me. I have a bunch of places that I like to go in San Jose. But in Panama, there's a lot more options, and it's just easier to find these places in Panama. And of course, this city is overlooking the ocean, so it's beautiful.
What about safety? Like a lot of people ask me about like safety and areas of Costa Rica that are safe. How do you feel like is the comparison between safety?
Both. I think I feel safe in both cities.
Okay.
Very, very safe in both countries.
Ah,
It's the same thing. I mean, it is the same. This is the same thing if you are in New York or if you're in Florida or if you are in I don't know, Dallas, Texas. If you're in a bad neighborhood, then you can be in trouble regardless. So if you're in a bad neighborhood in San Jose, Costa Rica, you could be in trouble. And also in Panama City, there's a few neighborhoods.
all right, well, we were recording and my phone ran out of memory. So where were we? Well, we talked about safety, we talked about the difference in the climate, we talked about just some little differences
Immigration,
in
the currency, the climate. Both countries are beautiful, by the way. I think both countries have a lot to offer. I think it attracts a little bit of a different type of people. Costa Rica really is appealing for a lot of people that love nature, want to connect with nature. You want to live this little more of a simple lifestyle. It attracts a lot of that, and Panama, the city is the main attraction. So it's obviously a different type of person who wants to be in a city and will want to have a lot of things to do. But even though in the city, just like driving 20 minutes away from the city, you still find nature. What else? Once again, both countries are beautiful. Both countries have a very active expat community that live all across both countries. If you're thinking about moving abroad, you will want to come and spend some time in Costa Rica. You will want to also come and spend some time in Panama and get the feeling of it. Once again, I love both. One thing is a winner for Costa Rica is Panama is being for many years a little bit of, I'm not saying unstable. The political environment. I don't like to say it's unstable, but let's say how the government handles things sometimes in Panama. It's a little more hard. Like through COVID, it was a shit show. Everybody was complaining how they handled COVID. In Costa Rica was one of the best countries in the world how we handled COVID in Costa Rica. Even after COVID, Costa Rica became top destination after COVID for you to travel. So in that sense, I would say Costa Rica handled better some of these political issues. Now, about a year ago, this is a good example. This happens every other year. There are strikes and people protesting for different social issues in Panama, and that could really, make your life hard in Panama if you live there, because if they do a strike in Panama, they would just block every road, and it could be for weeks. And this was the case about a year ago. They have an issue with a Canadian mining company, and they kind of like shut down the country for a couple of months almost. And this is something that in Costa Rica might happen a little bit, like people complaining and having like a strike or protesting, but it will never get to an extent to block the country. And in Panama, I've seen this happen almost every 2 years for the last, almost a decade. I've seen things like that happen in different places in the country.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess last question, so we can wrap up. Where are you doing the moving of people and their things there? Who are you getting more clients for Costa Rica, or who's moving to where more in your, let's say, in your demographics?
For my business, Costa Rica, but that's just because I've been in Costa Rica for 16 years. Panama has got the potential, it's got the places, it's got everything. And in the next 3 years, I will say we'll do the same numbers. It's very similar to Costa Rica.
Okay, cool. Just had to know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, sorry about the random, interference here, but hope that you guys learned something. I know some of you might be kind of between the two. I appreciate your perspective, Pablo.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing with us, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
Ciao.